Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Round 8 of the U.S. Chess Championship 2015, played in the beautiful St. Louis Chess Club and Scholastic Center in St. Louis, between two really good players. ON-GAREEV, who's, I gotta tell you, you never know what the hell Timur is gonna do. You really don't. He's an interesting character. I saw GAREEV at the Millionaire Chess in Las Vegas last year, and you never know what the hell this guy's going to do. It's fun to watch, though. And Sevian, 14-year-old grandmaster, the future, one of the future stars of U.S. chess. It's an interesting game to be sure. I'm not going to tell you who wins, of course. It's going to be a Tromposky. Let's go through the opening. GAREEV is white and Sevian is black. Interesting move there. That C5 with the pawn sacrifice immediately. Pretty crazy stuff. D5, queen to B6. Here he comes. Knight, queen takes. Now, oddly enough, that is the computer's choice. I never really cared for the B pawn sacrifices. You see that sometimes in the Sicilian and the Dragon. Queen takes, bishop D2. The queen's running out of spaces. Queen to B6 gets him out right away. So black's a pawn ahead, but I gotta say, because of all the queen moves, I think white has got a really good edge on development. It's got two minor pieces developed. Granted, its kingside pieces aren't developed yet, but black's got a long way to go to develop too. How's this bishop going to get out? You going to go here? We're going to see how it works out. Rook, E4. D6. Rook to B1, hitting the queen. The queen goes back to D8. Computer off screen's got a tiny advantage for white, about a quarter pawn. But I like white already. I think it's a hell of a lot easier to play. Interesting setup, to be sure. And so GAREEV, here he goes, F4. I mean, look at those pawns starting to march. And look at this. 1, 2, 3 minor pieces undeveloped. He must have had 4 or 5 queen moves already for black. G6, he's got to develop the dark squared bishop there so he can castle. He's cramped up already. Bishop checks. The other knight comes over. The computer liked the bishop on B to D7. But he plays that knight instead. Blocks in the light squared bishop. A4. Here comes Timur. I gotta tell you, this is the way he plays. It's interesting. And those of you that think the guy really sucks, he's rated over 2,600. So, not too shabby. He's just one of those guys that just likes to mix it up. Develop the bishop. H4. Here comes the other way. Computer likes A6 to kick the bishop. But Sevian decided to go H5. This will stop the advance of the pawns. Half-point advantage now for white, and you can see why. Black's all cramped up. Knight to H3. Good spot. Kicks the bishop. Bishop goes back to E2. Interesting move here. C4. Interesting move. I looked at this earlier before I did the video here, and maybe I'm just dumb, but I can't figure out why bishop can't take. Maybe somebody could put it in the comment section. Computer shows knight to G5, and that's what white did. Didn't take the bishop or the pawn. Queen to A5. Right into a discovered attack. But the knight can really can't go anywhere creative. Where's he gonna go? E5. I want you to look at this from black's point of view. I mean, he's got some serious pressure. Knight's right here. These bishops could come in at any time. Look at all these pawns in on the attack. That's pressure. And a castle is the computer's choice, and I agree, just to get that king tucked away. He decides to play d takes instead. Computer didn't like that very much. Because after castles, knight, queen takes was the computer's selection. But after d takes, d6. Jesus. What are you going to do here? E takes d6 is the computer's choice, but the odd part is, who wants to take that and expose your king like that? But he does anyway. Now it's a 1.5 advantage for white. The pressure's on. And we're on move 16. Somehow Sevian went wrong. I think he just fiddled around too much with the queen at the beginning and just got behind in development. I mean, look at white. All his minor pieces are developed. His rook's on the b file. He's ready to go g4 to bust that up. He's got a lot of choices here. Knight. Queen to c7. That's the computer's choice, but all these queen moves, I mean, you got to guard the pawn. Bishop hitting the pawn again. Finally, he said to hell with any castles. Now it's almost a 2-point advantage now for white. And black, if those are you to keeping score, is up 3 pawns. Now, how bad does your position have to be when you're up 3 pawns and you're down 2 points in score? Yeah. If those 3 pawns weren't there, it'd probably be -4. Or, excuse me, +4. Bishop takes, of course, driving the queen. Interesting, though, if he had it checked instead. Bishop, queen, castles, e takes, bishop. It still sucks, but it might have been a better alternative. F5 for Timur. I was kind of eyeballing it a little bit here before I saw this game, that, but bishop takes, pawn takes, and then queen takes. Whoops. Then queen takes, threatening mate, but then knight here saves everything. F5. Here it comes. Trying to open up the position. Computer like bishop to F3. That discovered attack. Queen has to move. Bishop takes. Knight takes. Queen to D5. And it's over for black. After F5, though, I mean, what else can black do here? He's screwed. Knight to F6. Double question mark. It's almost a 4-point advantage now for white. Bishop just leaves it. Doesn't even take it. Queen to D7. F takes. Knight takes. G takes check. That in-between move. The queen takes. Knight takes F7. Knight to C3. I mean, what's he going to do here? He's down 9 points in score. Now it's 10. It's a queen. It's resignable. He thinks he's going to get something back here. And he does. He gets the knight. Okay, so he's got a rook, a knight, and a pawn for a queen. But the position is just horrible. I've never seen Sevian play this badly. Knight checks. King H7. Can't let the queen in, of course, by taking. Queen goes to G5. And it's just, the pressure is just killing him. I mean, just look at this mess. Rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, queen to E7 check. And look at that black king. He's now in the open. And it's finally where Sam Sevian said, I had enough. To give you an idea, after the king moves, rook checks, here comes the big pieces. Bishop, queen checks, doesn't even want the bishop. King f6, bishop takes check, king, pawn takes, rook checks. And we see they're going to dance around for a while. And that's a nice mate. And there it is, folks. Hell of a game from round 8. So ON-GAREEV, I call him almost the modern version of Mikhail Tal. He loves to play. And that's that. And as I always say, folks, at the end of all my videos, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
We are with the always intriguingly attired ON-GAREEV. Timur, welcome to the show and congratulations on your game today.
Yeah, thank you, Maurice.
Today's game was wild. I mean, he just came right out and said, I'm taking a pawn on b2. Were you surprised by that decision, considering he's one of the tournament leaders playing with black?
Oh, well, you got to take that pawn on b2. I think I actually learned this system from, I think, a 2200 level player. I played out there in New York. And, you know, I like the system. You know, you just give up pawn, and you get, you know, all the initiative. Now,
you're saying this tongue-in-cheek, of course. I think you wouldn't suggest that somebody should take on b2,
oh, no.
Especially at this stage of the U.S. Championship, playing that kind of aggressive, let's call it aggressive, but very risky chess.
Yeah, you gotta take that pawn. It's a free pawn, basically, in a way. You know, really objectively speaking. But then, you know, the way I built up the game was you know, pretty adventurous, but not necessarily very solid. So, but you know, I guess you know, Sam just wasn't expecting to be on the defending side of the game. And you know, just wasn't really quite ready to. I think he did some calculation. I was actually really surprised as he was going through his moves. It was just, I was like, well, is my attack working there? Because I know he's pretty strong at tactics, so I wasn't sure what he was expecting. And you know, in the end, I think maybe f5 was the last move that kind of takes all the chances away from him.
He seemed like he was a little shell-shocked by how you were attacking him. You got to play moves like e5, d6, rip open the game. That must have felt like there was going to be some bad things happening to black's position when you were playing it.
Well, you know, I was playing in the spirit of a gambit, and you know, once again, I was just surprised that he kind of let me push through it. You know, there was certainly potential in the position, but I think had he played a little bit more subtly, you know, kind of anticipated my attack better, he would have stood a better chance to never let the attack happen.
If you were coaching him and giving advice, and a lot of the young viewers out there looking, he was in a very good situation in the championships. What advice would you give him from just the way you saw this game transpire, particularly in a situation like this? He was very close to the lead in the championships.
Oh, I think it's really, you know, you have a lot of competitions coming up, especially at his age. I mean, he'll win the U.S. Championship sometime in the future. So I would say it really doesn't matter as long as you're playing that particular game well. So which I think he didn't quite perform to his full ability, but you know, obviously learning from the lessons, and you got to play those decisive games, and you got to play them for a win, which, you know, I felt like that's what he was doing. I think at one point he had a choice to try to get a perpetual, so which he didn't even attempt. So I guess, you know, he played with the right spirit, but just wasn't. I guess maybe his mind just wasn't there.
You haven't been playing up to your standards in this tournament as well. This is your finest victory. Is it your first victory of the?
Yeah, first.
Your first victory. Woo! Congratulations. You won a game. Are you feeling that good? That you like get a game finally after 8 rounds?
Yeah, I think my race is with probably we're competing with Daniel for the last place. So,
not a race you want to win.
I'm increasing my lead.
So I guess you'll just shake it off because you got 3 more rounds to go and just try to play chess.
I think overall, like the games that I played were pretty reasonable. you know, I wouldn't say unlucky, but because, you know, I mean, chess is pretty logical, but I think, you know, I just haven't invested. Maybe during the games I did okay, but I was outside you know, a lot of the work that leads to the competition is outside of the competition. I'm not even talking about 2 months before. I'm saying, you know, how you lead your chess career, you know, at which point, you know, I consider myself mostly a recreational player. You know,
recreational. You're 2,600 player. You're not even 30 years old yet, and you're already a recreational player.
Yeah, I could probably give some good advice. You know, I take blindfold chess seriously. I want to, you know, kind of set a point there. You know, set some kind of a mark where, you know, I'll probably move on to the next thing. But as far as professional chess career, that's not something that I'm pursuing. And I see a lot of the players that actually are very serious about it, like Sam. Sevian, Sam Shanklin, Ray, they're obviously been improving over the past few years, you know. So Kaiden, you know. So definitely, you know, you could tell they're taking it to the next level, taking their chess career to the next level. For me, I feel like, you know, it's more of a transition point, and it's, you know, certainly a huge privilege to play here in the U.S. Championship, but.
You sound like Gadakomsky, 40 years old, life is over, I only made it to 2650.
Well, I think it's just chess is a time-consuming profession, you know, especially that you can, you know, exercise chess, you know, what, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, you know, so, which Fischer did at his best. So, you know, it's just not something that I'm doing, and it's hard to pursue something that you cannot fully dedicate yourself to, so.
Well, we still expect to see more enterprising games from you in your next 3 rounds. Good luck in the rest of your games.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you.
Grandmaster Timur Gareev. We don't even want to talk fashion.